This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. Good afternoon, my Real News Media TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update for August 11, 2023. And in the news this afternoon, Freedom Imaginaries request a meeting with the government about asylum procedures for Haitian migrants. Human rights group Freedom Imaginaries is again requesting an urgent meeting with the Ministries of Foreign Affairs and National Security to discuss due process issues in the procedures of the determination of refugee status and the complementary protection in respect of 37 Haitians seeking asylum in Jamaica. In a letter dated August 10, the Freedom Imaginaries reiterated its request for a meeting in light of recent developments in the asylum procedures and to request immediate access to information needed to prepare the cases of the applicants. The founder of Freedom Imaginaries, Malene Alain, is requesting that the ministries respond by 3:30 p.m. Friday with a proposed meeting date and the information called for in the letter.
We're also asking for access to information such as the written statements that the applicants would have produced during the interview process and the actual application forms that were completed by immigration officers, because this information, of course, would be critical to the preparation of the applicant's case in the asylum determination process. There are different phases in the asylum procedure. The first phase is an initial screening phase where the applicants are interviewed and immigration officials prepare their application forms for presentation to the committee that will consider the application. That initial screening phase is now complete, and so the next phase is for the committee to receive the applications and consider the case, which means that the applicants are now closer to a decision that could, have significant impacts on their lives, And so at this critical juncture, it's absolutely important that we establish these minimum procedural guarantees before we move any further.
The human rights group, in a letter dated August 4, urged the government to pause the process until the group can meet to establish minimum procedural guarantees necessary to ensure the principle of non-refoulement and to protect the constitutional and international law rights of the applicants in the process. Freedom Imaginaries said it disagrees with the government's position that the Haitians are being treated fairly and in keeping with the fundamental rights outlined in Jamaica's Charter of Fundamental Rights and Freedoms. In a media release on August 8, the Ministry of National Security said it acknowledges that there is some amount of anxiety among interested groups in anticipation of an outcome from the process. The ministry said the preliminaries are still being completed and it was yet to receive the applications, which were completed in view of the attorneys with their own interpreter providing the necessary translation services. But the human rights group said immigration officers completed the screening interview phase of the asylum procedure without remedying the concerns set out in its August 4 letter. The group said it remains deeply concerned that arrangements were not made for child applicants to be interviewed, as this undermines their right to be heard and to have their best interest taken into account as a primary consideration in the decision-making process. It said despite its request, immigration officers conducted the interview process without establishing a trauma-sensitive, gender- and differentiated approach that would have allowed applicants to tell their story as completely as possible. In addition, the human rights group said the applicants and their legal representatives are still being excluded from access to basic information, including the written statements of the applicants and the application forms completed by immigration officers. Equipment failure and inclement weather blamed for runway closure at Sangster International. The Ministry of Transport has blamed Thursday's temporary closure of the runway at Sangster International Airport on equipment failure as well as inclement weather, which affected upgrading work being carried out at the airport. The temporary closure affected 52 arriving flights. 12 of them were cancelled, while some were diverted to Norman Manley International Airport in Kingston. The ministry said additional staff was deployed by the Passport, Immigration and Citizenship Agency to process passengers diverted to the NMIA as part of efforts to avoid further delays. Some passengers were transported by air, while others were moved by buses with the assistance of the Jamaica Constabulary Force back to the airport in Montego Bay. The runway at the Sangster International Airport has since been reopened. But Transport Minister Darrell Vaz has said he is dissatisfied with Thursday's closure. He has instructed that MBJ Airports Limited, Jamaica Civil Aviation Authority, and the Airports Authority of Jamaica each provide a detailed report of the series of events which resulted in several delayed and cancelled flights. A full investigation will be conducted into the matter. Mr. Vaz said efforts will be made to prevent a recurrence of Thursday's incident. Opposition spokesperson on transport, Michael Phillips, has questioned what led to the breakdown of protocols which resulted in the temporary closure of the runway at Sangster International. Mr. Phillips called for Mr. Vaz to use his authority as minister to restore normality to the country's aviation system and air travel.
It is of concern because a few weeks ago we had an issue at the Norman Manley Airport and now the Sangster International Airport. The protocols broke down. The question is why did they? Because governance over civil aviation is very stringent and there are a wide array of protocols that would follow the airports itself. And if we have a breakdown like that, the important thing is ensuring that the tier rating that we have where civil aviation is concerned in the region and globally, that we try to maintain it because it has taken us a long time to get to where we are. And simple mistakes like this can affect not only, as you have seen, tourism in the country itself and just our own reputation as a destination.
The management of MBJ Airports, operator of Sangster International, said flights which were delayed or cancelled Thursday will be arriving at the airport between Friday and Saturday. Chief Executive Officer of MBJ Airports, Shane Monroe, said arrangements are in place to facilitate the smooth processing of passengers.
There will be additional operations for passengers to be able to park and to arrive. We expect that by the end of the day we should have stabilized, but depending on the airline, it may run into Saturday. We're working with all the airlines though to ensure they have the resources to be able to have those flights operate tomorrow safely and effectively. And we expect that tomorrow should be a return to normal operations in the sense of passengers being able to check in, board their flights, and arrive as usual.
2 men charged over Constant Spring Road attack. The St. Andrew Central Police have arrested and charged 2 men in relation to an attack on a man on Constant Spring Road. They are 20-year-old Stephen Halstead, a student of Pandora Crescent in Kingston 11, and a 21-year-old Roshan Minot, unemployed of Bayview Boulevard, Bull Bay in St. Andrew, who are charged with wounding with intent. Reports from the Halfway Tree Police are that about 1:50 a.m. on Wednesday, August 2, Halstead and Minot, armed with knives, attacked and stabbed a man multiple times. An off-duty police officer noticed the altercation and intervened, discharging his licensed firearm in the direction of the men, hitting Halstead in the lower body. The police were alerted and assisted all 3 men to hospital on their arrival. Halstead and Minot were treated and later released into police custody. Both men were subsequently charged following a question and answer session in the presence of their attorney on Wednesday, August 9. Their court date is being finalized. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.